this Saturday I have another favorites video for you. I haven't done one in a while, mainly been shopping hauls and tags and a lot of do-it-yourself videos lately, yeah. But I thought I'd do another favorites video, and this time I wanted to show you my current favorite books. Because like in the past I've already done videos, by the way, on my favorite DVDs, my favorite horror DVDs and my favorite records. But I hadn't talked about books yet, so yep. And yeah, these are just my 5 sort of current favorites. Like, most of them are like pretty much all-time favorites, but yeah. And they're not in any specific order. It's not like I like the first one more than the last one. They're just in a random order. So yeah, let's get started. The first one is this one by Chelsea Kane. I'm not sure how this is called in English. Oh, in English it's called Heartsick, and it's about a, like most of the stories I like, by the way, are thriller or horror. But yeah, this one is mainly about a cop and also about the journalist, and the cop has to lead a team of, you know, other police people to grab a serial killer, and the journalist can, you know, do a report on that. So yeah, but in the past he's been abducted by a serial killer and almost tortured to death, and the book also contains a lot of, like, you know, whole passages about how he remembers that and what happened in the past. So it's really interesting to read. I won't tell you too much about the book because I'm horrible at explaining the plot without actually spoiling the entire thing. So yeah. But yeah, I really like this book. Like, it really gets into the head of, like, you know, the cop and how he, like, yeah, and how he like felt during the whole serial killer thing, being abducted and all, and yeah. So yeah, it's a really interesting book. The next one is by Dean Koontz, which is actually my favorite writer, but I did actually try to not only pick Dean Koontz books for this video. So there's only 2 out of 5 by Dean Koontz. Yeah. This one is Brother Odd, and yeah, this is actually a book that's part of a series about a guy named Odd Thomas who sees ghosts. I really like the first book as well, but I couldn't find it currently, so it's probably somewhere downstairs. But yeah, so I picked this one. I actually like the entire series, but this is, I think, the second book. I'm not sure. I think it's the second book. And after the whole happenings of the first book, which I'm not going to tell you about because that would again spoil the entire story of the first book. He is in a monastery and he's just trying to find some peace there. And of course things go horribly wrong and sort of ghosts-like things show up. And then he has to somehow sort out what's happening before everyone dies. Or somehow gruesomely gets, like, mutilated or whatever. Something bad will happen if he doesn't do anything, so yeah. It's actually a very creepy book, but what I also love about Dean Koontz's books is he somehow manages to make them like they're not scary the entire time. Like, some parts are just really, really funny, and yeah, I don't know, he just puts all those different emotions in his stories, and I just love that. Also, his books are the sort of books of which I start to read 1 page and then 5 hours later I look up and realized I had more to do today, but yeah. So yeah, I really, really love his stories. Then the next one is actually a real children's book. It's one I read as a child, Horrorwitch Horror, the complete Horrorwitch Horror. It's actually 2 books in one, like there was the Horrorwitch Horror and then more Horrorwitch Horror. And this is like those 2 books combined, yeah. As a child I actually borrowed it from the library, but then yeah, years later I encountered it on the internet and I immediately bought it because I was like, I loved that book as a child. Like, it's just the typical, like, children's story, like horror stories, and yeah. There's really all short stories about mostly just really random objects like a camera and a bathtub. A vacation cottage, things like that, just really normal stuff that shouldn't have anything wrong with it, but yet there's something horribly wrong with it, of course. So yeah, it's really, really fun to read, and yeah. They're just the sort of stories, you know, like with the other books, like, you really do need to, like, you know, keep your mind with it, because otherwise you won't understand the story anymore, and this is really easy to read, really fun to read. Because they're children's stories and they're short, so, you know, they're just pure amusement. And actually, because I already read them as a child, you know, it's like, when I read them now, it's like I read them again the way I read them back then, and they're actually still pretty creepy. I don't know how fun this book will be if you actually, you know, didn't read it as a child, but yeah, I still love it. Then the next one is another Dean Koontz one. This is What the Night Knows, which is also about a cop. And then he, like, his family got murdered horribly in the past when he was a child. And since then he always sort of felt as if something was still after him, and apparently there was. I'm not going to say more because again I'm going to end up accidentally spoiling the entire story for you, which I don't want to. But yeah, it's just a really scary book. Like, it's scarier than most of his other books. Like, it's one of his newer books. Like, the older ones all are more like thrillers, and this one I think was actually more to the horror side because it was actually really creepy. The first time I read it, I was actually sort of scared to switch off the lights at night. Like, is that good? And also I think the ending is beautiful. And then the last one of my favorites is actually a classic by Stephen King, Misery. I don't think I'll have to explain what this is about. You know, the whole story about the writer who gets into a car accident and then gets saved by his biggest fan, who then keeps him captive in their house. Because of course that's what you do when you encounter your favorite writer and all. Yeah, apparently it is. But yeah, what I really love about it is that the book just... It's gonna sound strange, but the book is just really unpleasant to read in a way. Simply because like there is no like what I said about Dean Koontz books. You know, like between all the scariness and all, there's actually still humor and fun, and in this book there just isn't. Like, it's stressful and scary and just unpleasant the entire time because, you know, of course he wrote it from the point of view of the writer. And the writer, of course, isn't exactly feeling happy being trapped in bed with a crazy woman. Well, she's not in bed as well, luckily, but you get what I mean. You know, being in the house of a crazy woman completely to her mercy, and yeah, that's just not a pleasant situation, I can imagine. So yeah, that's what I really like about it, how well he wrote it and how completely creepy it is. Yet it's just really fascinating to read. I really like the book. So yeah, that's another one of my favorites. So yeah, those were all my 5 current favorite books. As I said at the beginning, I think I said it, I'm not sure. Well, then I'll say it now. If you have any suggestions, you know, of books you love and think I'll love as well, please tell me and I'll just look them up because I'm still looking for more books to read, because currently I'm just mainly reading the books I have in my bookshelf here and just reading the same books over and over again. So yeah, I'm more looking for more books to read. So yeah, in any case, I hope you enjoyed watching this. Thank you very much for watching and see you next time. Bye! Salt solution which I make myself of boiled water and about like a cup of boiled water and then a quarter teaspoon of